Shmaya. Usually in the end of the week, in the end of this month, you get Siyat Shmaya. So let's try to cash in. Rabbi Engelstein, you told me not to say your name, right? No, okay. So somebody had a case where it's mamish a proper bittul kli mechana. It seemed to be mamish negaya someone in the kaidal. And no, but it could be negaya even in a normal life, and it doesn't have to be negaya dafka like Shabbos Purim and things like that. It could be negaya like a baby, a child. Somebody has to vomit. Someone has to vomit. And why would somebody have to vomit? Why, Rabbi Sher, why would somebody have to vomit? Pregnant or what else? Or what are the other reasons? Or Purim, or what else could be a reason? First of all, 4 cups of wine, and dry wine, and half a pound of matzah, if not more. Well, this figure is coming. What'd you say, Hamshi? This figure is coming. Cooking. Oh, I'm sorry. That was even worse. Okay. So there are reasons to believe that one could vomit. And what happens? It's always nice on a Sunday to start a shiur like this. No, right? Thank you, Rabbi Engelstein. But you said not to say it. But Al Kapanim say, what happens now? The person, he says, Lamaisa, I'm about to vomit. And it's about to be projectile. It's going to be all over the place. Unless you bring something miyad, right? So, okay. So let's say you run and you bring a bucket. Is a bucket miyuchid for vomit? It's miyuchid. I'm not sure how to don a bucket. Like a bucket is something that a bucket could go either way. It's like if someone has to vomit, they would use a bucket. It's on the arsenal of things that one would use, right? What? Wait, slow. Everybody's hours will take in a moment, but let me just get the shaila. No, it's true. I'm sure you have you want to add in the Havana vomit right now. Just give me a minute to get it. Why'd you change your seat? What's going on here? What is he doing? I don't know what's going on here. This is how it begins. So like this, Rabbi say, everyone's in good mood. So like this. Let's go in order. Let's say he brings the Nagelwasser cup. Right? That also happens. It's you're just like looking for something and you want to bring a Nagelwasser cup, something just to have it under his wife's mouth, or let's say he's pregnant later, he wants it under his mouth or whatever, right? So the guy governor, that would be the bittul kli mechana, right? You're doing something which is not miyuchad for that. I think we'll all agree that a Nagelwasser cup is not miyuchad for that. Maybe you could say a bucket is miyuchad for everything. Maybe somebody would be mechadish that. I don't know. But a Nagelwasser cup for sure not. So then it would be a problem. And what are you going to do? You're going to put inside of it like a tuna can, or like a davar mutter, which we said is not so pashut anyways, right? But like over here, what are you going to do? You're going to put inside a davar mutter. It's not so pleasant. And not only that, once you put inside of it something that's not so pleasant, it becomes, let's say you put in like a chad pani spoon. Just one moment. But let's say you put inside of it like a disposable spoon. So the second you put it in, now that it's vomited on, you're not using the spoon again either. So it's going to be a problem. So Elamai, maybe over here you'll say it's like a graf shalrei. Like Rabbi Khan says, it's a graf shalrei. So Mela, the whole idea of a bittul kli mechana is that you made this kli unusable, and now you're not going to be able to move it. Here, while it's in my hand, while I'm holding it, it's anyways, books in my hand, and certainly a graf shalrei, and it's a graf shalrei you'll be able to put wherever you want because you're going to be able to get rid of it. No, he's not going to leave it there. He's going to for sure spill it out, and it's a very unpleasant thing and whatnot. So there could be a svara to say that. It could be that it is a graf shalrei. It could be to have that heter, and therefore it wouldn't be a problem with bittul kli mechana. It could be, and then that would even work for you didn't want me to say names, I won't say names, but it'll work also for your bucket that you want to use also. You'd be able to even use a bucket because a bucket, what is going to spill inside of it is graf shalrei, and then he'll be able to move it to wherever he wants. Sorry? No, but here it's the Metzias graf shalrei. I'm not sure if you have like you mean he's mamish in the middle of the street. I'm like in the middle of the street or something, but not sure. Yeah. His question was that let's say somebody has to vomit, so could you bring a bucket and then bring it to them that they'll throw up in the bucket, or is it going to be mevato kli mechanai? Now you're making the kli unusable. So he says. So Rabbi Markowitz says. What? Wait, so I'm saying, so Rabbi Markowitz says, what if you're in a place where the Maisa, you don't have a heter of graf shalrei, so you have to take the bucket and like leave it right there? I don't know, maybe there's like different rules by vomit. No, it's not. Shulchan Aruch says key, right? Shulchan Aruch mamish says key. You have to leave it right there. So what are you gonna have to do? You have to find like a disposable. You have to tell the person 1 second. 1 second, 1 second, and you have to run and get a disposable chat pami like a garbage bag or something like that or whatever. I don't know. Sorry. What? Shmata? What about shmata? I forgot to mention. Rabbi Nissen said over that we said the other day that buckets. It's not so normal to have other things in buckets like tuna cans, and I said that's why it's not so pashut when you have the air conditioning trip to put inside like a fork or something. But Rabbi Nissen said to us that he says, you also didn't want me to say your name, no? I forgot. He said that he has like a rubber ducky, and that's a normal thing. Why was a rubber ducky normal to put in the bucket? That's what I said. Okay, but no, if you have something, he's right. If you have something normal that goes in the bucket, then you could, right? Like you could throw in there. A bottle of soap goes in a bucket, maybe, whatever's normal. I mean, I gave the example, it's not normal to put a fork and a tuna can in there, right? But there are things it is normal to put inside a bucket, right? A rag, a shmata, something like that. So then that might get out of the problem of bittul kli mechanoi. That can get out of the problem. What? There is, we're going to learn this week, Kavod Abrius, but they're right. The Choyer over here, you're saying Rabbi Stem just says, come on, it's in Mill Street with a bowl of vomit. It's pretty bad, right? But for whatever reason, that's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. You have to figure out. What? I know, but you have to figure out what's going on over here. There is some case of Graf Ray that you're not allowed to leave, that you're mechuyev to leave the vomit in Mill Street, which is a little bit interesting. I mean, you have to know what the case is. You're allowed to post it out? Well, I forgot to mention, Rabbi said, it was Negeya just now. Who's... Oh, he's not here. So I just this Shabbos, I had a case of a Mokse Machmas Chesron kiss that no one would think of. No one would think of. Right before Shabbos, so one of the light bulbs went out. Some went out, whatever. And right before Shabbos, I'm saying during the week, a light bulb went out, and somebody bought a new light bulb, a brand new light bulb, just never got a chance to put it in, and it was right there on some table. It wasn't to get buses because it was shachach, whatever, but it was just annoying to have around. What's the din of a light bulb? What's the din of a light bulb? So this one was a new light bulb, the new light bulb. The old light bulb is probably an unusable garnish. That's probably just a gufay. It's a muktzah machmas gufay. It's an unusable anything, right? But a new light bulb, what would you guys say after learning 93 shiur in my muktzah? What would you say a new light bulb is? Whatever it is, doesn't make a difference. What would you say a new light bulb is? I would say it's pashit no shayla muktzah machmas chesron kes. Why? Because the getter of chesron kiss, as we learned in this room many times, has nothing to do with its value and its price and its this. It's something that you're careful, you will not use it for other things because it's very delicate. It's very delicate, right? You certainly are not going to be careful not to use it for other things because it's a delicate thing. It's made for Isser. The Isser I can't do on Shabbos, and to do anything else with it, I'd be careful because it's a delicate piece of things. It's a Peladic and Mice. No one would think of this, right? No one would think of this. What? Come again? It's not so big. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not, because here you're makbid not to do anything with it because you're afraid it could roll, it could fall. What? It's pashit. I don't think there's even a need on here. It's pashit. It is not totally in the sub base shadow. This is pashit that anybody, when it comes to a light bulb, a person's going to be very careful because he's not going to want to use it for something else because it could fall, it could break, etc. And he's very makbid on it. So that's a good case. Mamsh geshmak case. What? Sorry. No, the old one is just muktzah machmas gufay and chanami, but it's not al and kiss. It's just unusable. It's a nothing. It's a totally unusable. They're both in halacha. It's not nafkamina. They're both going to have the same status, right? No, but it doesn't start because chasar and kiss has to be that for its right, but for its use, it has no usage, and then for something else, I can't use it. Here, for anything, it has no usage. So it doesn't get a fikra. What about it? So that we said, since a plastic bag is something which is oymid lekach, so then it could be that it gets used up. What are you asking? In general, you mean in general? Yeah, no, the chayra, you'd be allowed to use a garbage bag for the vomit. Yeah, nechanami, right? Could be. Based on what we spoke out, it could be a garbage bag might be oymid for everything. There's definitely a scar like that. Well, it depends where. If he's outside, it might be a problem of Zaraya and whatever. It could be, I'm saying. But so there's another sugya which Mr. Shem, we're going to learn next month about cleaning a floor. If it's the spot cleaning, then pashtas, yeah, but you won't be able to use a shmata, but just to wash it off. But you have to be careful not to wash the whole floor. So it's not so simple. Akapanim, let's start. So like this. there are 3 levels. This we haven't spoken about yet, okay? So that's, Bittul Kli Mechana, I think everybody knows now. It was probably a whole different experience, Shabbos, no? Trying to find cases of Bittul Kli Mechana. So I got to have like a close to case. My daughter accidentally picked up that light bulb, right? That light bulb, right? And so right away, the worst thing in the world is when there's another child there who sees, it's almost as bad as in this week's parasha by Vayakel, the person who was davening for the Amid, he said he said ace like 6 times, and there was an ace man there. He was which one was he doing? I don't want to get shot. He was doing S, and it was ace. Right, I don't want to get shot, but it was 6 times in a row. That's ace, that's ace, that's a, that's a. So almost as bad as that is when one child picks up muksa and a different child sees the anti-Semit picking up the muksa. It gets very violent over there. So right away I was like, oh no, I saw this happening and I didn't know what to do. So my daughter picked up the muksa, and then the other daughter, the other Muslim freedom fighter, said muksa. Right? So she dropped it. It was in the box. Brought it in a box. Stomach all bottled to the thing. It was in a box. It's in a box, right? And then I said, well, the mice, you were allowed to just put it down. So what did she do? Obviously, picked it up. I can't. My rib is going to kill me. Don't make me laugh. It's bad today. That was terrible. So she picked it up. I was like, what shocking. You're the guy who's supposed to not do stupid things. Okay. So she picked it up. Now, okay, I said, don't move. Don't move. These are also those lights that, those special lights that you have to buy, and they're expensive. They cost more than like 8 shekel. So I said, okay, don't move. Come, let's put it down. Once it's in your hand, you're allowed to put it down, right? But now you have to be careful. What? Why are you allowed to put it down? Because muksa be'and, makam hefsid, and things like that. But akapanim. So, sorry? If you would drop it again, I don't know if it was in the box, if it was going to break and whatever. But it's a makam, why not? What? No, these are like the lead ones. They're very expensive. But anyways, so, what? Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh. Really? Taka, I didn't know that. Okay, so then I wouldn't have known that. So I said, quickly go put it down. Go put it down. So she put it on a chair. On a chair. Right? And it was taka like a pella. There was a chair next to her, and she went all the way to the other side and put it on a chair on the other side of the room. I'm not sure till now, what exactly it was all about. But she put it on a chair. I started to think, let's see, did she do the right thing? I wasn't going to tell her. That might be bittul kli mechana. Right? But let's see. She put it on a chair. All right, sounds like bittul kli mechana, right? You're making the chair. It's a chair which is a basis on Shabbos. That's what you're not allowed to do. And you don't want to now do near because you don't want it to fall on the floor. It could be like what you're saying. You might change the picture a little because you're saying I could just let it fall on the floor. I wouldn't care so much. But Lamaisa, it's certainly not the right thing to do to put muksa, which is in your hand, into a place where now you're not going to be allowed to move the muksa. What? Come again? That's the case of pricing. You can't take something muksa and put it into a place that now you're not going to be able to move it around. Okay, but the chair, fine. So you were mevatel the chair. So you're right. Under the chair is not nisbatel, but the chair is nisbatel, right? The seat, the chair is nisbatel. What? So I mean, you can do a lot of things. You could also move it with your elbow, but it doesn't work like that. Bittul kli mechana means that you did the normal usage of the kli has now been ruined. So that is a good example. Like she would not have been allowed to put it on the chair. I don't know. What if you put something else on the chair? I don't know. Something has to work this out. What? The chair, and then you'll be able to move the chair, but it doesn't help me because I still can't use the actual seat of the chair, right?
But even after that,
sorry? You won't get it back to usage because you have to be menayered off the chair. I don't want to be menayered. That's a bittul l'shah. I say, let's go slow. I don't want to get confused here. Let me go in my order. I shouldn't have brought it. I only brought that case now because I mentioned light bulbs. I wanted to just say, tachlis, you shouldn't be doing this. Okay, maybe we'll find an eitzah, but what you should do is take the light bulb and put it on the countertop and whatever. But let's see. So there's 3 levels of bittul kli mechana. There's 3 levels of bittul kli mechana. There's immediate. Let me prove all this, but there's immediate. If a person is mevatel a kli, which is only mitzvatel for a second, it's miyad. You could remove the item. Okay, this will get us into what we just spoke about. But there's miyad. There's l'shah. L'shah, I'll explain everything in a moment. But l'shah means that it's not miyad, whatever that means. And then there's a bittul l'kol hayoyim. He's being mevatel the kli for the whole day. Okay, so what are these things? Let's go slowly. First of all, Taisus and Daf Mem Gimel and Aleph, Taisus says that if you have bittul kli miyad, the example of Taisus is based on the Gemara, that you bring something there, that the little chicken lach, they jump onto it, and you're just giving them a place that they shouldn't fall. You have like a chick coming down, and you don't want him to fall, so you take the upside down cup or whatever, and the chicken goes, he bops onto it and whatever. So now you could be menaira miyad, you could shoo him off miyad. So Taisus says that it's based on the Gemara. Taisus says that's mutter. If you have a case that you're being mevatel kli for, I'll call it a second, but we'll see in a moment. Let's not do it a second. But when you're being mevatel something, that's not called bittul. Anytime I'm just doing something in order, listen closely, because the lumdus seems to be that when I'm doing something that I don't really need, that it should remain there. I just don't want it to affect that area, right? Like for example, we'll see soon cases that I just don't want it to ruin the table, let's say, right? But I don't need to really hold it and to catch it, etc. That's called miyad. That's called miyad. Who brings this la'alacha? It's Mishabur over here, and Sivkat Nei. Mishabur says that he says, Aval mutar laseis tachas ner shel shaifa. Let's say you have wax that's spilling. Why would you put something under the wax? You're not trying to save the wax. So why would you put something under the wax? You just want to save the table, right? So therefore, I don't really need that it should be here. I just need it not to be there. So that says the Mishabura. That's called a bittul kli for miyad. That's machetachta miniach sham kli sheipala kli. So the Mishabura kevan she'efshel l'nayer miyad. So then that's not called bittul kli mechana. Since I can get rid of it miyad, again, the example of the Gemara was you had a chick that was going onto an upside down cup and you just go like this and shoo him away. Right? You could just do like that. So therefore, it's not called the bittul of the kli at all. Now the Mishabura adds words. He says, not only, this is based obviously on Taisus, not only if it's bittul kli miyad, it's even if I don't plan on shooing it away. But since I could shoo it away miyad, that's already enough. It's not called bittul kli if there's no bittul of the kli that has to be there for even a small amount of time. It's just, it has to get on and it gets right off. There's not a bittul of the kli. That's what it seems to say over here, that even efsher is enough. It's basically the idea being that usually, thank you. Usually it's a shmira, thank you. Usually it's a shmira of not the item itself. It's usually a shmira of something else, right? Like my example of the wax is dripping onto the table. I want to save the table. So I'm not interested at all in saving of the wax. So therefore I don't care if it remains there at all. I just don't really care. I just don't want it to go there. So then there's no bittul kli. There's no bedafka kite that I want it to be on the kli. Is that clear before I go weiter? And therefore, Mishabura says, therefore it's also, even if it's efsher, even if it's Mishabura, even if I'm not actually planning on shooing it away, but once it's efsher, then that's not a bittul of the kli. It's something that I could do miyad. That's what Mishabura says. Well, so what's the case of the oil if he does? The case of the oil, Mishabura says, is that he wants to keep the oil. So he's not going to go and spill out the oil. So there's even for one moment, he wants that the oil should bedafka be inside the cup. He doesn't want that the oil should spill out because he wants to keep the oil. You have to dan. Maybe today somebody would come along and say, well, by us, we don't really want the oil, right? We don't care. By then they wanted to keep the oil, right? So by us, maybe he'll say that, let's say he'll take water and he'll put it inside the cup, put a davar mutter in the cup and it's not going to mix. So you don't have min b'minai, right? That it gets bottled. That avashesh matir because it's min b'minai. So you take the water and you put it into the cup. So now the cup is holding water and the cup is holding oil. And I don't care about keeping the cup. And the cup is able to be moved because it'll be tilted min atzad the davar mutter or whatever. So then the kai govna, maybe somebody will come along and say that that's called even miyad. I just need it just not to touch the floor, so I can move it miyad. I'll be able to move it miyad. And sorry. The bucket with the air conditioner, we had the other problem is, no, I can't move it miyad. I want it there. I definitely don't want to move it. Sorry? I want it to stay in the bucket. I want the bucket to be there because I want it to remain. I want it to keep on catching, right? Let's say the oil is a case where I could just, it's only a few drops or whatever. Okay. Again, Bittul Kli is very hard. The Gedarim are very hard. Let's first get what we can get, and then Mitzvah Hashem, we'll go into Halachos of Bishul more practical. But that's... Sorry?
Why is oil disappointing?
The oil is muksa, because it was muksa when Shabbos came in, it was the basis of the candle. And Mamela, now it's dripping out. So that muksa, that oil is muksa. So now if it goes in the cup, in the time of Chazal, he wanted to keep it. So therefore, that would be a Bittul Kli, at least L'Shah. We'll see maybe even more. That's case number one. The Graz, the Baal Tanya, the Baal Tanya comes along and he says like this. He says, so first of all, the Graz says that idea that we said. Basically, the Mishaburi explains that even if there's no, even if he doesn't menayer it, even if he doesn't actually menayer it, he doesn't actually spill it out, but if there's no to'elis in it being there, it's not to'elis in it being there, so he said that's already called miyad. That's already a bittul kli of a miyad. Now the Graz is ma'aseh something interesting. He says that what if it's nicker from the dover that I let's say I don't have any das at all. Say I have no das. I have no das if I am going to push it out or not push it out. So the Graz sounds like it depends what is the tzura of the dover. In other words, if you have something that it's nicker, that he's not interested in keeping it there, so then that's enough for us to be matir. You understand? Let's say I have something like wax. It's clear from its tzura that no one cares to keep the wax. So therefore, that is enough to say it's mutter, even though he doesn't plan on moving it or whatever. But let's say I have something that it's clear from its tzura, says the Graz, that he will keep it there. What's an example of that? The cup with the oil. The Graz says the cup with the oil is a clear example of something that you're going to keep it there. He says, why? Because it says, you don't want to lose the oil. So the tzura of the oil dripping out is something that it's clear to the person that he's going to wind up keeping it there. He's going to wind up keeping the cup there. So the Graz says that'll be asr. No, the reason I'm saying this is like, I don't know, I saw the Orchos Shabbos in the 19th parak in Tafayim Beis. He says the Mishabura doesn't say this. The Mishabura doesn't say it, and it's mashma that if I don't have das to keep it, you need das b'dafka to keep it there. That's what he says. I don't know if the Mishabura has to say it. It's a Gemara Mefereshes. I don't know. And the Mishabura brings the sugya of oil. I'm not sure. I mean, how do you learn oil? What's the case of oil? I mean, the Shulchan Aruch says, "Ein noisen kli b'Shabbos tachas haner." What's the case? It doesn't say over here if he has positive das to keep it there, not positive das. It sounds like in every case, oil cup, you can't put the cup under there. Why? Because the tzura is of such that it sounds like that's some tzuras. It's tzura that is something that you're not going to move. Right? So I don't know. I'm not sure if this. And some of the Shiur holds like this also. I don't know if anybody argues on this. It could be the Graz is the one that explains it. Okay, that's case number one. We'll see examples of that in a moment, but that's miyad. Then there's case number two in the Paiskim, and that's a case of where there's a bittul kli l'shah. Bittul kli l'shah means that I cannot be menayer at miyad. I don't want to be menayer at miyad. I can't be menayer at miyad, but I can't do it miyad. Okay, and in this case, the Mishabura, not in our simon, in the next simon, the Reish Samach Vav Sivkat and Chav Zayin, is based on sugis and gemaras, the difficult gemaras. God, and the Mishabura over here says that Sivkat and Chav Zayin in the next simon, he says that we're meko the hefsid maruba on bittul kli l'shah. I'm going to make it very practical in a moment, but that's what it says here. He's talking about a case over here where there's a farm animal who's having a hard day. Right, so you have to take like some type of a pillow and put it under the farm animal, and he says, so now you're going to take it, and be shy. Oh, actually, this wasn't the farm animal. I'm sorry. This was the glass, these huge glass kalim, the computer we spoke about, right? The computer's about to fall. You put a pillow underneath. Now, for the second, you definitely want it there. You definitely want it to be there for a second, and then afterward, benachis. You're going to remove it slowly off of the pillow. That means you do want it there. It's not the pshat that I don't care at all if it's there at all. I do want it there. Basically, when I'm doing it to shomer the item, so then that's considered a bittul l'shah. When you're doing it to protect the item, that means that you want it there. You understand the difference? When I'm doing it to protect the table, I don't want it there. I just don't, I don't care inside of being there b'dafka. I just need something to block the table. When I'm doing like the wax case, but when I'm doing it for the pillow that it shouldn't break, I want it there. For that second, at least I want it there. So that's already called the shah. That's already called the shah. The Mishabura says, So he says here, Chazal made it special heter if it's hefsid meruba. Says Mishabura, I would place him if it's hefsid meruba, aval small hefsid, then not. Okay, that's the case number 2. Case number 3, Zach Mishabura says, but what if it's levatel kli mechana lekol hayoyim? You want to be mevatel a kli for the whole day. Not like our case that the computer fell on the pillow and then you'll slowly take it out. No, you want it to be there the whole day. It's something that you're not going to be able afterward to be shoymet in. You're going to be afraid. It's computer, it's very expensive, something. So you're going to, it's the kind of thing that you're going to bedavka pick up and take off, which means you have to wait till after Shabbos. Everyone got the case? It's not something that I don't care at all. And it's not something that I want it there just for a second that I'll be able to take out the pillow. It's something that I'm going to, in order to take it off, I'm going to have to lift it up and then take it off, which means that it's going to be something that has to be there the whole day because I can't do that on Shabbos. So that's called bittul lekol hayoyim, and that's also even behefsid meruba. Says the Mishabura, I knew behefsid meruba yesh matirim, yesh ayisrim, ayin bir lacha, and the bir lacha, he comes out. Kosher me'oid lahakel, pashtis asug is not like that. He's coming to fight at a Magen Avram. Magen Avram has a heter, even if it's kol hayoyim. The Mishabura is not accepting. Adkan are the 3 levels. Should we make it practical? Should we make it practical? Who wants to make it practical? I should make it practical? Yeah, right? It's like this. Like this. So somebody told me a story once. Somebody told me a story. He said that he saw there was a chandelier that was about to fall down. There's a chandelier that's about to fall down. Right? So what could he have done? What could he have done? So what did he do? He felt that it was like a hefsid meruba, so he went and he took it off, and right, it was Ivan Seiser and whatever. But what could he have done? Let's see. What could he have done? So let's try and figure this out. What? So let's say you bring out a mattress. You bring out a mattress, and now it's going to fall. So let's try and figure this out. It's probably it's at least a bittul kli l'shah, because it's bedafka kite that I want it there to hold it even for a few seconds. I want it to be held there, and even if afterward I'll be able to do a benachis, right? To menayir it off the pillow, which is not so simple. I mean, I don't know. Could you be menayir a chandelier? You'd probably be scared, but maybe it's bittul l'yoyim. I don't know. What? Well, let's say you could. Let's say it's going to fall on the mattress. So now that'll be a bittul l'shah, b'makim hefsid meruba. I imagine breaking and doesn't think it probably also a big parsha. If it smashes all over the place, that could be anyways hefsid meruba. And I'm saying chutz for money. It could be sometimes danger and this and that. So that would be a good example of this, right? Bittul kli l'shah that hefsid meruba is going to be mitzvah. I was thinking that like in Bnei Brak, you probably have this question more often, right? Because in Bnei Brak, pictures on the wall and mirrors on the wall and everything on the wall for that matter is all muksa if it falls off. In the rest of the world, so they take on like the Mishabura, that you're allowed to take on and off unless it's a Chasarin Kiss picture or something like that. Okay, let's say it's a Chasarin Kiss. You have a picture that you're very, very careful. You don't move because it's expensive. You don't want it to move because you're very nervous about the picture. So then everywhere in the world, that would be muksa. So then now you see that picture is about to fall. Picks it out the fall. So you want to know, could I just take like a pillow, a couple of pillows, put it there and let it fall onto the pillow? So that'll be this. If it's a hefsid meruba, I guess once it's a chasar and kiss, right? So if it's a hefsid meruba, so then that'll be bittul l'shah. Bittul l'shah is mutter b'makom hefsid meruba. That's a good example of this. And another example, I was thinking like this: the AC drip. So let's say the air conditioning drip is dripping onto an expensive carpet or a carpet, whatever. It's ruining the carpet. Okay, ruin a carpet, you're gonna have to go and updo the ganze carpet or whatever. So let's make the cheshbon. So, and all you have is a bucket. You have a bucket, and we said the bucket is very nice that you're using it for water. It's true, but it wasn't miyuchad l'kach. This isn't the bucket that he uses it for his vomit, right? It's definitely not miyuchad for the air conditioning drip. So now he wants to take it and bring it there. So let's see. So now, let's see. If it's going to fill up, and spill over and turn into a graph. Let's say it's like a small one. So then what is it? It's a bittul l'shah, right? Because it's not going to last the whole day. It's a bittul l'shah because you're going to be around to move. Let's say it'll turn into a graph, okay? So then it'll be a bittul l'shah. Okay, it's not so pushy that it turns into a graph, but let's say that's the case. If it's going to turn into a graph, so it'll be a bittul l'shah. Everyone got? Because then I'm going to move it in an hour when it fills up. It's coming out nice, right? Let's say it's mamish coming out nice. Or about the same different case. You see, sometimes you have drip coming down. Sometimes you can have a drip coming down and the water, I don't know, when I had a drip in my house, I was wondering, is that water muksa? because once it went through the walls, it's all the water's all ichy. I wonder if that's like stam moksam achas kufay. Because it's all ichy. The water is totally like schmutzig dick and whatever. No, I mean like really schmutzig dick. Mamish can't do it. The only thing I was thinking is you could maybe use it like wash down a toilet or something. So well, maybe it's not. I'm not sure. There's Shulchan Aruch and Shimon Midhei that talks about to laugh. Where was it? To laugh. Shimon Midhei, no? Here. Shimon Ches. That was the other Jalaf. That was the Jalaf of the wine. There's another one, Shimon Ches, right? And that's the one I want. Let's see. Here. What do you think? Klitachas adelef b'Shabbos. What's this delef? Shtelef delech atikra. Rechitza. They were mamish bathing in the stuff. The nasan klitachas delef she'ein roy l'rechitza mutter. Mamayim amausim shebay. What? Why is it ain't a roy? Why can't he just use it for the toilet? I don't know, right? The Halachos was talking more mitzad the Nagelwasser water, but that's All right, but anyways, at least the mazgat, at least in air conditioning is zichar muksa, right? So now you have the air conditioning coming down, and it's muksa water. So he puts under it a bucket. It's mevatel kli meichana. This bucket was now usable. Now it's no longer usable. You can't move it because it's holding muksa. Okay, so let's see if it's going to fill up, and I'm going to be able to move it in an hour because it's going to be a graf shel rei. So then we're very good, right? Because then it's bittul shah, ruining my carpet, hefsid meruba. So I could do a bittul shah for makam hefsid meruba. But ironically, it's a funny thing. It's like if you'd ask somebody this, you would never chop it. But mashenke, let's say it's a huge bucket, so then it's worse. If it's a huge bucket, then it'll be able to handle the drip, and I'm not going to have to change the bucket. So then what's that? I'll never be allowed to move it the whole day because it won't have the heter of graf shel rei. So it'll be a bittul kli, the yoymai, that's not mutter even behefsid meruba. Chop it? Again, right now, I want the oilam just to understand how to apply these rules, right? But sorry? What's the heter? So, but that's min b'mi. That's it'll be batal. Min b'mino, we say dav sheish matirin. It's dav sheish matirin. Dav sheish matirin. What? No, there's no bittul. What do you mean? That's interesting. You mean you'll take water, put it in there, and then the naila will create a graph. That's interesting. You know he's in graphic deal, but it doesn't matter. Have said that could be. That could work. That could work. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, I mean you could put in Rabbi Nissan's rubber ducky. Maybe put something in the bucket which is normal to be in there. Yeah. Maybe interesting. What was that? The wax just. So the wax seems to be something. I'm not 100% sure how to don this Mishnah Berurah yet. The Mishnah Berurah says that I could be menayer miyad, right? I mean, I guess you can't be menayer. What are you going to do? Spill it onto the floor? You can't. You can't because then it's going to ruin your floor. That's exactly what you're coming to avoid. So then there's no such thing as betul kli mechana because everything in the world is possible. I could also take out the pillow and let the glass smash on the floor, but you see, not like that. It means something I'm going to do. No, it means something that b'poil I'm going to do. The chayra. What about what do you guys do this Shabbos with the shells? What lemaisa happen? The shells on the plate. You can't put the shells on the plate. Betul kli mechana, right? What? Even by guests, it's very dangerous to eat by people 94th shiurim after muktzah. You know, it's very dangerous, right? Especially with your bucket and everything. So I don't know. I mean, Lemaisa. I was thinking of an interesting thing. Tell me what you think. I was sitting there on Leil Shabbos, and so I got it. I don't have a plastic. Most of them uses a plastic though, probably, right? But so if you use a plastic, I was thinking I don't use a plastic. So I was thinking, why do I have a problem? I realized this during Friday night. I told the oilam that you have to take a fork and put it on the plate, because now I'll take the shell, I'll put it on the plate, and now I'll be allowed to pick up the plate, and therefore it's not betul kli mechana because I'm allowed to move it still. Okay, that's what I said the other day. So I realized I'm not sure if the oilam that uses plastic. Not plastic plates. Obviously, if you use plastic plate, that might be a different shmooze. We said anyways. Could be maybe it's only good for everything. But let's say I use a plastic tablecloth. Okay, so I started thinking, what's the shot? When I take a shell and I put it onto the plate. Now, I can't be menayir miyad. Why can't I be menayir miyad? Because what am I going to do? Menayir it onto my table? It's clearly from its surah not being menayir miyad. So by me, it's a bittul kli mechana, at least l'shara, whatever. It's a bittul kli mechana. By the oilam that has plastic on their tablecloth, right? And let's make it extreme a minute. By the oilam that has plastic on their tablecloth, and it's at the end of the meal, right? So then, what's stopping you to just pick it up and miyad just throw it onto the tablecloth? So Derek, what you were just asking, Rabbi Spire, why can't I just? So is it nicker from its surah that you're not going to do that? I'm not sure. You have a plastic tablecloth, right? I don't know. I was thinking that maybe that's maybe it would be okay. What? And right, it'll come out that in the beginning of the meal, it's nicker from the tzura, that no one's going to do that, right? I know, let's say you have eggshells and you shell the egg at the Shabbos table. There's some people that do that, right? So you put it onto the plate. That would be an emes kapitel kli mechana. What are you going to say? Well, I can be menayir it miyad. No, you're not. You're in the middle of you're not going to menayir it onto, even if it's a plastic tablecloth, you're not doing that at the beginning of the meal, right? So, I don't know. I was thinking that might be a shtickle. I mean, it's not such a big deal. The Shmir Shabbos and Chav Beis Chav Tes, he says, just put a fork on the plate, right? You put a fork on the plate and you're good. Yeah, so he said, okay, so put it next to whatever I'm saying. So just be careful to do it like we said, the l'chayra. Sorry? You could, yeah. A piece of food would also work. I'm saying, my example, fork, whatever, the same idea. What? A plate on the tablecloth. What do you mean? Yeah. Yeah, I'm dining on the plate. You're putting it straight on the plastic tablecloth. I don't know. It could be it's even better. It could be straight onto the plastic tablecloth. Maybe it's not a bittul kli because you get involved in what? I mean, first of all, like he's saying, like I'm just saying, you're always going to have other things on the tablecloth. There's no such thing that you're putting seeds and there's nothing else on the tablecloth anyways. And then he's saying even in the beginning of the meal. I'm saying even in the worst case scenario, there's nothing on the tablecloth. It's like at the end of the meal. So who cares? It's all going in the garbage anyways. It's chad pami. It's all those svaras that we spoke about, which was are valid svaras. Sorry? I mean, it's not a word of time. If you're going with the malach of miyad means it's something that I could do. It's efshir l'nair. I need to have efshir l'nair. That's what I need. This is the hard part of bittul kli Rabbi say. So, Marshall, what do we do with this? Here, watch this. What do we do with this? This part's a little bit difficult. What do we do about this? You have here in. Let's see Shiur maybe. You have a table. Shiur brings like this. He brings an interesting case here. In the Mariel. He says, let's say you take a cup and you put it under the table. You got the case? If you take a cup, you put it underneath the table. I'll read it from the beginning. He says, "In Yeshua Kli Davram, Oid Eitza B'Tshuvas Mariel." Hiskim and Magen Avram. Yasim klimi b'join tachas hashulchan. Take some cup, put it under the table. Ubi Shabbos, after you finish eating on Shabbos, take away the table, and the kli is standing there tachas haner. Okay, I mean you have to chap what the case is, but there's an oil dripping, and you have to block it before Shabbos. Now on Shabbos, I'm going to take away the table. I'll make it practical in a moment, but the way the Shulchan Aruch says the case is you take away the table. Now it's going to drip on Shabbos into the cup. He says you're not over on bittul kli mechana. Why not? He says after goyrim bittul kli mechana, shari, you're not doing it, but you're dying. Not doing it, but you're dying. Oy dying. Anu nisarim milasim kli b'Shabbos al shulchan. Okay. What do you say? Gram bittul kli mechanai is aser. It's mutter. It's mutter if you're not doing it b'maisa b'yadayim. So I'm taking away the table, and it's going to happen b'meila. Taking away the table and happen. What if I take that cup and I put it there on Shabbos and then I take away the table? Shiur says not like that, right? Shiur says, what's the case? I took the cup, I put it there before Shabbos, then I move the table, and then it drips into the cup. He says that's allowed. It's only a grama. Why did Shiur say bigger chiddush? You put the cup there on Shabbos. And then I move the cup and it happens b'meila. So Vice says that's no good. That's considered already enough of a ma'aseh b'yadayim. That's a chayr comes out. The Gra says in the first. Right? Everyone agree that? What do you want to say?
Is this similar to the plastic tablecloth on the nearest side? You said that Russell said if you pick up the plastic around nearest, in some locations you're not really doing it, it's just there by itself. You have to be moving it
No, but here you are being mevatel, right? You're causing that the bittul will. Sorry. I'm not sure if this far is early. I mean, here's this far in bittul kli mechana. It's called there's a new kula here called gram bittul kli mechana. No, just think of a case. Rabbi say, what did I ask you at the end of last year? Yeah, you had a fork inside you have a plastic cup inside the garbage, right? And you want to take the plastic cup out of the garbage. And there's already garbage in there, muksa garbage. So you want to take out a plastic bottle, okay? You see a plastic bottle there, you want to save a plastic bottle. You know, it's not boiler because it's very big or whatever. So you want to take out the plastic bottle. The regular you take out that plastic bottle, so now the whole entire garbage can. So it's hard, the garbage is probably miyuchad l'kaf, right? So it might not be bittul kli mechana, because maybe the garbage is miyuchad to have garbage in it. What? According to me, right? According to me, the whole thing is definitely not miyuchad for garbage, right? Okay, so let's see. You're allowed to take out that fork on Shabbos. What? Because you're doing it on Shabbos, right? Does everyone understand the case? Again, the case is you have in the garbage, you have garbage, and you have a bottle. The bottle's not muksa. You take out the bottle. What did you just do? You just made it that now you can't move the garbage, right? You just made it that you can't move the garbage. Rosh Hashanah in the Shmir Shabbos in the 44th ha'ara. No, it just moved. In the 45th ha'ara. He says there's no raya that this case is aser. Why not? He says there's no raya from what I just said that this case is aser. What? So he seems to learn like what Rabbi Lieberman's saying. He seems to say that this is too weit, too much grama. This is too much. You're not doing a maisa to the kli. When is it that it's a problem? If I take a cup, I put it there, I did a maisa with the cup, then I move the table, and then it goes in on Shabbos. So all this is on Shabbos, then that's a maisa of bittul kli mechanai. But if I didn't put the kli there in the place where it's going to be nisbatel, so he says, so then I just did something, I just removed the fork, and then it's nisbatel memela. That he says, you don't have a raya that you did a maisa of mevatel kli mechanai. It's very interesting. In svaras, why should that be, right? What? Oh, very interesting. He got in the 44th ha'ara. Shlomo says, let's say you see that the air conditioning, you realize, oh, there's no bucket there. So you quickly find a bucket that's not miyuchad. It's miyuchad, different choice. You run over, you take a bucket, you put it there. And then someone says to you, what are you, anti-Semit? It says, bittul kli mechanai. What's wrong with you? So you say, okay, well, I did it already. So Shlomo Zalman said, you know what? It's mutter, you can leave it. He said, but then they showed me, it's unbelievable. Then they showed me the Samsayv, the Sasemis, the Slach, the Prima Godim, and the Bir Alacha in Reish Samachay Sivdal that all say not like me. So Batal Daiti, and you do have to move it. They all say that Bittul Kli Mechana, if you can avoid it, you put it there, and now you see it's about to be Nisbatal, you got to move it. He had a tzad not like this. Is that what you were just asking? Yeah, what do you say? Everyone's got the case. You think it's about to start mamish coming down from your air conditioning system. So you quickly bring a bucket there. So your wife, she learned bittul kli mechana the last few days. So she says, what are you doing? Bittul kli mechana, what's wrong with you? Right? So you say, well, I did it already. She says, Amoretz. What are you talking about? Nothing happened yet. It didn't go in yet. Boss? I can hear chilik. You did something. You didn't. The ma'aseh bittul didn't happen yet, and this is as a result straight of you. Why not? You didn't do anything wrong yet at that point. Oh, when it happens, it's misaches to you. Right? Yeah, right. It's like a very, very good. It's like a challah in the oven that the oven didn't go on. You have to take it out. Yeah. What? Because otherwise it's going to cook, and then what happens? We cook you. Good. I'm still in a good mood. You guys can tell or no? You ever tell? No? You're still good. Okay. What? No, the rib hurts still, but I'm still in a good mood. Okay. So like this is interesting. Let's say you have a choice. I was having a hard time finding a case, but let's say I have a choice of bittul kli mechanai or moving muksa. Well, you have a case? I'll give you a case. Well, evil muksa, whatever, evil muksa. Right? Should I give you a case? You have a choice of moving muksa, a very normal case probably, right? What? And that's an interesting case. That's an interesting case. He says, you see, or any of those cases, the truth is he's right. Let's say the case of Yana Chandelier, let's say the case of this very expensive portrait, which is about to fall. Very good, that's the same idea, the same idea. Let's say that very expensive portrait, which is about to fall. So now I could pick it up and just take it. Let's assume there's no boiner or whatever, okay? So I could just, and it's only a shot of muksa. Let's say we agree it's muksa because it's chesr and kiss, or if you're in Bnei Brak, any picture and you see the picture is about to fall, okay? So now I could just pick up the picture and be over on muksa. The truth is in Bnei Brak, it's no problem, it could be over on boiner sites, okay? But let's say you're not in Bnei Brak, you're like in Kiryat Sefer, okay? So Mela, yeah, I could pick off the picture. It's a very expensive picture, so it's a chesr and kiss. So I see it's about to fall. I could either take it off and be over on muksa, or I could bring their pillows, right? And then let it fall on it and be over on bittul kli mechana. What? Or let it break. Or let it break. So let it break. We know already that we're not going to have to let it break because bittul kli mechana b'makam efseh bruba remekel. Oh, on the shah. What? Okay, no. Let's say even. I'll tell you the case that I had. It could be right. It could be Chamshi's case gets a little bit complicated, right? But let's say the case I had. The case I had is what I found in the Shmir Shabbos. He has a case so it's interesting. You have to listen closely. There's the old print of the Shmir Shabbos. This is in the 22nd parak in the 115th ha'ara. Okay, he has a case like this. He has a case. It's hard to cut the case, but he has a case of, let's say you have let's say. Okay, let's say, Rabbi English, I could use you already at this point. They know it's you, I think. Most of the guys know it's you already, right? So he has the bucket with the vomit, right? And use the Nagelwasser cup. Let's see. Wait, 1 second. So let's say he vomits in the Nagelwasser cup. And he says, oh, it's twins. Twins, right? Right? So now I have a choice. It's very good. I got a case. No, it's not a good case. What? I'll tell you his case. His case is that a graph shel rei, you have a real graph. He's talking about a real graph. I'm trying to make it practical, right? But he has a real graph. He has like a real graph shel rei, and I'm just a graph shel rei. So he says, what should I do? Should I now need another graph. So should I take this graph, spill her out? This graph is miyuched for graphkite, right? Wait 1 moment. This graph is, I'll tell you his case first. Yeah, this graph is miyuched to be holding graph, right? It's vergraft. It's real vergraphkite, yeah? So now you want to take this graph and, you need more graffiti, whatever, right? You need more graph, right? So now you need more space. So you have a choice. You could take this graph, which is miyuched for graph, and you could spill it out, and then bring it back. What will I be over on if I do that? Muksa. Okay, I have a graph there. I'm trying to think of a case that we have. We don't have graphs so much, but I have a graph that's there. It's already there. Let's say I have a pail with diaper lach or something like that, and it's all muksa, and it's miyuched. It's a miyuched diaper pail. Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad. I have a miyuched diaper pail which has all the diaper lach in it and everything, and all of New York's finest is in it, and it's at the top. I could leave it there. Right? And I could bring another, and it's covered. Let's say, it has it doesn't smell or whatever. But the kid is the kanaina hoda this Shabbos, and I forgot to mention there's twins and everything. So now you need more room in the garbage. I could bring a pail. That's good. Okay, I could bring a pail which is not miyuched to be holding diaper lach, but so then I'm going to be over on what? If I put it in, I can't just leave it out. So I'll be over on what? Bittul kli mechana. I'm going to put the tzaya inside a pail. So I'll be over on bittul kli mechana because it's not miyuched for that, and you ain't putting no fork in there, okay? So that's one option. Or I could what? Or I could take this diaper pail, empty it out, which the heter would be, because if it's going to get piled up, it's going to be a graph and it's going to be dreadful. So what's better? Should I take, that's his case. Can I take the diaper pail and then throw it outside in the garbage, okay? And then be over on muksa, but muksa b'makim graph? Or is it better to be over on bittul kli mechanai and bring here something that's not miyuched l'kach, a dainu like a pail? Okay, what would you say? It's interesting. It's interesting. What's the answer in the first place? Why am I not mechuyev each time to take the diaper and just throw it in the, outside? Okay, but that seems to be you're allowed to do what's normal. It seems like you're allowed to take the diaper and put it in the garbage, which is right there. That's what it seems to be. What's the question? What? So again, it's not very important. Rav Shalrei, we saw many times by the Aruch HaShulchan. It's not that it's mutter like gazru. It's barer that it was like a tchuya, and therefore Chazal waived muksa b'makom Rav Shalrei. Now, if I'll prove to you, I'm not proving anything yet, but if we'll say that betel kli mechanai is more kuladik than muksa, so then the heter should go preferably on bittul kli mechanai. It happens to be that Rabbi Lieberman's reaction, it's somewhat my reaction. It's interesting. I wonder if that was a Shmir Shabbos reaction. We heard from Chazal a heter of Rav Shalrei when it comes to muksa. So even if you're going to tell me that muksa is less chomer than bittul kli, is more chomer than bittul kli, but I don't know, maybe on the record book, there's a heter of Rav Shalrei when it comes to muksa, but there's not when it comes to bittul kli. It's interesting. I also would have had it sound like that. The Shmir Shabbos in his first volume talks about this case. He talked about mamish, a real graph. I tried to make it a little practical. He talks about a real graph, and the person has like a waste bucket and whatever, and has in it the Kenai Nahuda, and he wants to go and either has a choice. He could empty it out, or he could bring a bucket to vomit in. That's his choice. So he says that what should you do? Go empty it out. And don't be over on Bittul Kli Mechanai. Don't be over on Bittul Kli Mechanai. That's what he says. That's what he says. Sorry? What's that? Does everybody understand what I'm saying? That's what he says. Right? And Nissim is about to ask a Mogen Avram that the Bir Halacha brings down in Siman Shin Lamed Hey, in Sif Lamed Aleph. Mogen Avram that I don't have by us, but the Bir Halacha brings it, and I'll read it to you. And Shin Lamed Hey, Dibra Maschal Loy. Let's see what he says. He says, Loy is Rikena Bekli, Ela Merikoi, Ayin Mogen Avram. Disayver im yesh le kli acher. Listen closely. I have another kli. Yoiser toiv sheyeviena. Ooh, that sounds like our case. Shesayver im yesh le kli acher. Yoiser toiv sheyeviena. Bring the other kli. V'yanichena agabe akli she'amid kfar. And v'nismale lekabel tlaf shedoylif. If you have a choice, you have a tlaf that's dripping with the nasty stuff, muksa stuff. So you have a choice now that you have a choice that you could bring another kli. So he says, I would prefer you do that. Agabe kli she'amid kfar nismale. Now, right now I have a full bucket. I could take this bucket and spill it out because it's a graph. Or I could bring another kli and rest it on top of this bucket and fill up this bucket. And what am I going to be over if I do that? Bittul kli mechanai. Says the Bir Halacha. He says, better to do that. Mishitalto muksa b'yadayim. Game over. The Isser tiltal muksa, chamer mi bittul kli mechanai. Game over. The first. That's not gone. That's mais b'yadayim mamish. He takes the bucket. Again, you have nasty. Okay? Nasty's filled to the top. Now you have a choice. First, Bir Halacha. I could take nasty and spill it out. And what's that? That would be what? That would be mutter, mitzad, Rav Shalrei, tiltal, or I could take a bucket, which is not miyuchad lekach, and it's a bittul kli mechana case. Take it under the drip and let the drip to fall into this and make a bittul kli. Says the Bir Halacha, what do you do? Don't do the tiltal muksa. Do bittul kli mechana because bittul kli mechana is more kuladik than tiltal muksa. So they showed this to the Shmir Shabbos. And in the new volume in Chav Beis, now by me this is very interesting because in my Shmir Shabbos in the old prints, I have written on the side V'tzarech Ian Bir Halacha Siman Shin Lamed Hey Dibra Maskal Loy. That's what I have in my old prints. In the new prints, it says in the 22nd parak in the 128th ois, he says, but then they showed me the Mogen Avram. And they showed me that bittul kli is more kuladik. So if you have an overflowing garbage, mamish this case, you have an overflowing garbage, he says, so then don't take out the old garbage. If it's better that you should do bittul kli mechanai and not to do tiltul muksa. So he says, like it says in the ha'ara, in the ha'ara, in the first print of the Sefer Shmir Shabbos Kehilchasa. What do you say to that, Kindalach? What? You weren't asking this, but this is a much better question. What? But it's mamish a good question, no? What? How much do you love me? Come on. Yeah.
Why does he not say that he should do? Why does he say that's the thing to do? Because he doesn't know about it.
Maybe he doesn't have. I don't know. What is it?
He just says that he's talking about the case.
Then on the whole entire graph array, the Mishnah Berurah says mefurish that if you have a choice of bittul kli or tilto, so then you do bittul kli. So now you have a kasha on the whole entire 3 sifim, 4 sifim, 5 sifim, lam gimel, lam adal, lam hey, lam vav. Why in every single time didn't he say bamed, var mamurim, that you have to move it? What? So he does say it. He says it right here in the Biur Halacha. That's in the kasha. There's a kasha. He says mefurish. That's mefurish. Mefurish. What's the svara? No, I want you to know, I find this intriguing. My first reaction was like Rabbi Lieberman. My first reaction is that, you know what? Bittul kli mechanai maybe is more kuladik. It is maybe more kuladik than muksa. Okay, I can hear that it's more kuladik, you know. But it's not sheni. You know, Chazal made a graph heter because of the fact that tiltul muksa is something that is so common, the graph scenario is so common, so they didn't want, you know, you see, not like me. I would have thought that enechanami, bittul kli might be more chamer, and I don't know, in Gehenim, if you did bittul kli mechanoi, they burn you to like 400. But for tiltul muksa, 500-600. Oh, crispy, right? The worst. But that's what I would have thought. But you see, not like me. You see that? I'm saying, but Alpha PK, but Alpha PK graph is a special heter that Chazal gave by tiltul muksa, because tiltul muksa is something that it comes up all the time. Tiltul muksa comes up, a diaper and this and that, and they know this thing is muksa. So Chazal said on the record book that there's a heter of tiltul of a graph shalrei by tiltul muksa, and they didn't say it by bittul kli. That's what I would have thought. But you see, I'm wrong. You see that it doesn't work like that. No, you should know. You should have a real appreciation now. In the Havan and the Lundis, took us 45 shiur since the last time we spoke about this. You should have a real Havan and appreciation of graph shalrei. You have a real appreciation. Until now, we were always like, is graph. Now you see what's graph. Graph is like this dochik, heter. If we can get out of it, we're going to get out of it, you know. And I agree, gosh, it's better to do bittul kli mechana than to do tiltul muksa. Now you see how vite a person has to avoid a graph shalrei. You understand what I'm saying? That's a big thing. I would have thought. Chazal understood. They're going to answer tsoya. They got to come up with a heter, right? You see, not like that. The pshat is that there's a heter of graph. Graph's a heter of covered up rias, and even smaller isurim like bittul kli come first. That's a murder kazach. And you see even the Shmir Shabbos, the guy who did the whole Hilchot Shabbos, and boom, even this, he also made kivyachol this mistake because it's a very normal mistake to make, right? And you see, not like that. I understand this mistake very well. Right? It happens to be the Shiur and the place coming out like that. Right? I'm borrowed. This is why he made a mistake. I'm borrowed because he understood that graph, the heter of graph is like a special heter that Chazal knew that you have to give a heter for muksa because you're not going to ask it soya and not just give us some type of heter. So V'mela, he felt it was only in muksa, and then he saw, you see, not like that in the poskim, but it's a tremendous avana. I hope that Olam Chatzis. What are you saying? I'm sorry. Even if graph is really what? So we did see the Aruch HaShulchan, I think, said you have to do tiltum atzad. Was Aruch HaShulchan? Somebody said you have to do tiltum atzad. Mishmur wasn't. Okay, so that it could be that I'd say fight nish. Okay, I'm saying there's a tzad like you. So it happens to be, it could be that once Chazal gave a heter, so they didn't go so far. Maybe Hagufa, they were afraid it would cause, a person, it would fall, and that it would be even a bigger covenant previous problem. I don't know if my contract is mechayiv me to answer this question, but your question is good because you see there are those that, what happened? Think about it. 59 minutes have gone by. It's because I'm in pain a little bit, no? A little bit of pain, but. What? The going that's machman miyado, yeah. That's such an evil question. He's so evil. You see, this person's carrying a diaper or whatever, a muksa, and he finds out that the dogs in his neighborhood, they're not cool about eating tsoya, right? So it's really muksa. And now he's walking past it, and then he sees that he could just drop it right into, what can you drop it into? Well, like his a pillow is a little bit interesting, right? No, like you put it in like the fridge, right? You put it like in the fridge, and no one's opening up the fridge now until after Shabbos, right? Why are you laughing? No, so think of a normal case. I tried. I wasn't successful. Like in your shoe. Now there you go. That's not bad. You have a good, you're holding it right there. There's a big shoe there. You can just put it right in there. It's not going to bother anyone. The shoe smells anyway. So like, so now my choice, or I can carry it because once I'm carrying muktzah, you're allowed to continue carrying muktzah. But the goyin holds you're not allowed. So according to the goyin, you got to put it straight in the shoe, right? Even though it's bevatel the shoe me'echanai. Yeah, that's a very normal case, lady. What? Yes, okay, so Elamai, we're always going to be makel anyways, because we always know the Magad Avraham and whatever, right? But let's say you're an Einikel the Gra, right? Or something like that. So you're carrying a computer, so the Kai Godlings, right? That'll come out. You have to put it down as fast as possible, even if it means being Mavato Kimechana. Right? Find a place to be Mavato Kimechana. Okay, what's going to be? We didn't get through anything today, so what's going to be? Maybe just cancel Bennett's man. I don't know what to do over here. We didn't get through anything today. What? Whose fault is it? No? What? No? Who's masking? You started the whole thing today. You. Wait, so Rabbi said, you got to go to Shiur Beis. What? Oh, don't forget that they might be doing construction over here. Might be doing construction. So Mela, nobody's leaving before Thursday, but if you, if you want to have your Svarim next month, right, or for the rest of your life for that matter, so they might be doing construction, and then sometimes the Arabs they can, who knows what with the Sefer, what if he gets hungry or whatever. It's saying don't leave your Svarim here, Bekitzer. Don't leave your Svarim. Nobody's going to take any achrayas on these Svarim. And then what's going to be? You won't have a Svarim next month, and the whole Nechus Muksa and everything. You'll all be very sad. What? Yeah, Mr. Stomach, you can find a place. Talk to him. Talk to Rabbi Green over there. I don't even know. Talk to them. Talk to the powers that be. I don't know. I get nervous without my Svarim, so I take them with me wherever I go. So you guys should go weiter already, like Shiur Beis and whatnot. I don't know. That's covered up Rias. It's a big sugya. But okay, what happened? I don't know. No, you'll all admit, this is the least we ever did this year, ever, right? What? Yeah, but it could be here too.